Hey guys, Claylex here. Welcome to another Ramble video. I wasn't expecting to make a kind of, as you can see from the thumbnail and the title, another negative Obsidian video. I did put one in that was thankfully false information again about like the organization Obsidian was going to fund and help out for charities and whatnot. But this one is just going to be more on opinion on, I believe their second recent game, like next to the Outer Worlds. And that's going to be Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Now, let me make it clear, at least in the beginning, we'll start with the positives. I love the first game. I really, really do. I love the story, the writing. I love the idea of the Watcher, races, classes, even just having your own little custom party, even though they don't really you don't really speak much, excluding your main character and such. It really does feel like a D&D adventure through and through, and especially if you play with, the fully voiced NPC companions, yeah, those would be the top notch. I love that too. And despite like it being a bit aged, I mean, it came out in 2015, the game really was really good and surprisingly stable. And again, it was definitely, in my opinion, worth the $4 million they got off of Kickstarter. Freaking insane. And I did, and admit though, I did, both with this game and the first game, I did play it on story mode. I didn't really play, though I do try to play it on medium if I can on my YouTube playthroughs. I'll still try to do that for the first game, but I just liked more the story, the writing, and the RPG mechanics. I did the combat. I'm not really a fan usually of these combat systems, except Planescape Torment. Surprisingly, I really like that one. But anyways, back on track. I really loved it. I loved it from start to finish. I loved the DLCs too. The DLCs were amazing as well. And we'll move on to, that's about it I can think so far for Pillars 1. Now we'll move on to Deadfire. What do I love about Deadfire? You know, not being a graphics whore again, as I say on my daily quotas, but graphically speaking, this game looks absolutely beautiful for a CRPG. Probably visually speaking, the second best looking CRPG that I know of, next to Baldur's Gate 3. That game, for how kind of buggy and glitchy it is, like character models and the world itself are out of this freaking world regarding that game. This game though is at least second place. I give it like second place, whatever. Like, yeah, if I just put it in, yeah, the character models look absolutely incredible here. And this on Unity too. This is like really, really impressive for a Unity game. Combat is actually more fun. Like, even though again it's mostly just animations and whatnot. Again, I do this on story mode, but it's still more entertaining to watch my characters fight against enemies compared to the first game. RPG mechanics have actually, I felt, been improved, more streamlined, but streamlined that everyone now will enjoy it compared to the first game, where I felt newcomers would be a little bit overloaded as I was when this first game came out. And that's another thing too in general, that everything has been streamlined for this game, even the gameplay and it, like I said, the RPG mechanics. Unfortunately, that's about it I can say for this game. That's a good, I guess a fourth one is you can save import your game from the first one into this. That one I like too. And and of course we cannot forget that if you make, I assume too, but like if you make a second character, that it won't port over your other saves, so you'll be able to make as many alt characters as you want. Though I'm not sure, I can't remember if Outer Worlds does that, because I can't remember if that was the case. If it was the case, I'm like, come on, Bethesda, you did this before. I know it's like completely two different engines you're using, Unity and then Unreal Engine, but come on, man. But otherwise, that's about it, unfortunately, with the positives. What do I not like about this game? For one thing, the story and writing is incredibly boring. Like, you see the in the thumbnail, I'm a copium nerd for Obsidian. I try my best, like, to support them and even defend them if, like, oh, this game isn't really good, this game is really buggy and glitchy, like I did with Alpha Polaris, like, a really good RPG spy thriller type game that they made. But man, like, I can't defend this story, man. I mean, it sounds, it's like the one you play for the first couple hours, it sounds cool, and then see you're invested. Oh, it takes place 5 years late. Yeah, try not to spoil it if I can, but Deadfire takes place 5 years after the first game, and you're in your stronghold Cat Noir, you're having a good time, with your buddies and all that. Oh, what happens? Oh, that statue that was underneath, your stronghold. Yeah, Eophos, I believe that's the name of the god, basically takes it over, and basically his Titan, or like almost avatar form, humanoid form it could take while in in the Deerwood, whichever, and it basically it destroys your stronghold. It kills about 200 plus people from what one of the characters say to you, one of the gods in Pillars of Eternity tells to you, and in this case she resurrects you, and now, like, you're kind of her champion now, instead of like the other one that you picked in the last Pillars game. Again, try not to spoil. And now you go to the Deadfire Archipelago to find Eophos and stop him, before he sucks out the energy from the pillars. Again, I'll give credit to that. That's really good tension, at least make it clear, oh, Pillars of Eternity, and that's about it, sail it. Basically Pirates of the Caribbean style, But as you get through, you realize that the way that I think Obsidian structured this, unlike, say what you will of the first game, at least with the first act, that it's kind of boring and they rush everything at you. This one is like, I feel like they try to take a more neutral, slower pace with the game, and unfortunately, it just doesn't help it. I felt by hour 3-4, I was just like, I wasn't really starting to get invested with I maybe it's like, oh, why don't you play with the story companions then? It's like, I'm not sure, because like even if they were there, it's like, I talk with these characters that do this, I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I think Deadfire can fit in the Pillars of Eternity world. I just don't think that it fits with the Watcher, and it doesn't fit with, or at least like this specific Watcher and his companions. We should have gotten a new protagonist, is what I'm saying. They should have done it like, I don't know, like Fallout 2 or Elder Scrolls 2, for example, that like just wipe the slate clean, new character, new protagonist, literally. Because like at least they're doing that with Outer Worlds 2. Thank God. Because like, I'm just saying, play it safe, whatever. Granted, I did say before in my Obsidian video that Outer Worlds, while a good game, it's a good game, at least a good solid game, it definitely felt like it played too safe with this. This one, it's weird with this because while it does have some improvements, it's weird. I don't feel that this game plays it safe. I feel like they just kind of dropped the ball. And I'm surprised. I can't believe I say this with Obsidian, but, they really dropped the ball with this game in terms of, like, its story, writing, and character dialogue. I mean, yeah, the RPG mechanics are still there, the choices are still there, but I don't know, man, like, I just feel bored going through, this game. And it doesn't help, too, that the world structure is, it's like, I can't believe I'm saying it, like, you feel, I was like, oh, go on these islands, you think like you'd feel some kind of adventure, but the way that this stuff works, like, I'll say this too, and I know people would say, what? You must be crazy, but when I go into the islands, and I go into the dungeons that they have, the dungeons feel like I'm going to the Elder Scrolls 4 dungeons, and it feels samey. It either feels, yeah, it feels like it's too short, or it feels like I went through exactly the same dungeon like another dungeon ago, like 10 minutes ago. And I already feel like, and again, I understand story mode and all that, but again, I'm not a fan of the combat, so please bear with me with that. But again, I basically go through like another 2-3 hours with that, and I'm like, oh my god, don't tell me that this is going to be like, at least like outside of the story writing, please don't tell me that this is supposed to be the side content or the dungeon content, because this is boring. This is really, really boring. There's no structures. There's no feeling of like, you feeling, I'm sorry, like feeling rewarded actually exploring. It just feels, like I said, it feels boring. It feels like, oh, here's a dungeon. They won't care about this, you know? Because like when I go into a dungeon, especially like I fought the Cad Noir dungeons, I thought at first it was a terrible idea when I was playing it. You know, like, oh, a 15 level mega dungeon, but the way they structured it and the way that everything was in, I had fun. I had fun going through the mega dungeon. I had fun fighting, you know, it felt great. Like it kind of reminded me of like the old World of Warcraft days when I went for the dungeons and then I finally got through kind of a raid boss scenario, you know? That's how I felt when I went through the mega dungeons in the mega dungeon in Pillars of Eternity 1. This one, it feels like, ugh. You know, I'm just, it feels boring, like a bad taste in my mouth. And especially, it reminds me too that I'm disappointed. I want to play the Beast of Winter DLC. I want to like interact with and possibly fight, you know, Ringora? Sorry, like, not the death god, the cold, bestial god, the one that kind of looks like a goat ram. Yeah, that one. I want to interact with him. I wanted, you know, it to be awesome, but I'm like, I ain't gonna do it if, like, this is how the story's gonna be. Hell, I don't care. I enjoyed, you know, White March DLC. I thought, again, when I saw the reviews, I thought the DLC was gonna be piss poor, but for like, even then, for as little content as I kind of got, and I kind of slightly speed blitzed through that DLC, I still enjoyed it. You know, I still felt, you know, yeah, especially like part 2. I thought the first half was disappointing with part 2, but the second half of part 2, they just like completely did a 180, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so invested in the story and the writing and interacting, you know, with this guide. It's like, it's awesome, you know? And even then too, I'm like, I hate to say it, but I just feel, while interacting with gods in this game is like awesome, at the same time it doesn't feel as awesome as it did in the first game, because I thought that like having the mystery about how, when people describe them, right? Actually, yeah, I love the idea that they describe the gods, but they never actually give you a physical picture. I don't mind if people made fan art or whatever, maybe back then with the first game. That's all good. But that, with them later on giving them a physical form, I don't know. I think it took out the fun mystery factor, and it just made you, you know... And I don't mind the Titan humanoid forms. That's fine too. That was in the first game. We got a glimpse of that, whichever. But... again, man, it's just disappointing that they dropped the ball in this. And a little miscellaneous factor too, negative, is that this game, for as graphically pleasing as it looks, man, if you have a high-end computer, this game will run like dog shit for you. Because I'm running a, let me show you guys real quick, I'm running a kind of modded code program. And even with this, it still doesn't work. I have a frame rate limit. If I stand still for this, it'll probably be fine. It goes up to 98, 110 FPS, or that's how I try to put with the limit. But as soon as I, as soon as I start walking around doing activities and all that, that frame rate, I swear to you, will drop down to 20 to 40 FPS. I'm not kidding. And again, thank God, Outer Worlds does not have this issue. Like Bethesda, like sorry, I almost said Bethesda. I'm sorry. Obsidian fixed this issue. But yeah, for now, I feel like I kind of got the gist out of what I'm disappointed in. Is like it sucks too because like I literally took a break from streaming because I got addicted to Pillars. I couldn't stop. I remember like the last day of stream, I literally could not stop thinking about it. So I finished off around the 2.5 3 hour mark, and I was like, okay, I'll go back to streaming when I do this. First game was great. Then moving to the second game, I was like, oh man, I'm excited for this. And I played from my crunch time. Let me see if I can put that out for you. Oh no, I can't. I'm sorry, guys. But like from what I saw, I'm about 8 to 9 hours into this game. I feel like it's been a bit fair to give it that session, but I am extremely disappointed with this game. Do I think it sucked? No. They're like I said, the graphics are good, the combat's good, the gameplay is good, the RPG mechanics are still good. The way they streamlined it works without making it suck, because when you streamline an RPG, or especially a CRPG, it's like, this ain't gonna be good. But this one I felt was good. Right now too, that you can see I have 6 party members, and the mods too are pretty good too, I'll give it that. But like, just like with the first game, I even said if the story writing and dialogue wasn't good, like even with the RPG mechanics and all that, I wouldn't have cared about this game. And again, yes, it took me the same amount of time, 8 to 9 hours, to get into the first game, but it's weird. It's like, at least there was moments where I was like, okay, I can keep going with this game. Deadfire, it's like, I don't see a reason for it. And especially too, actually, the way that the pathing, I feel like the pathing system, the way that this works, where it's like, oh, you could go here, oh, you're free to do whatever you want. This game, I feel like I'm locked in a cage with this. Pillars, I didn't feel I was locked in with content. It's weird too, because like, okay, I can't fight this enemy, I'll wait till it goes in, and I didn't feel like I was forced to do it. This game, it feels like, oh, you have to go to this place, and then you have to go to this place, because, especially too, I want to get a bounty, right? I want to, like, get Noma the Marauder, but I can't, because I have to do this boring-ass main quest to, I assume unlock the other islands. And then, again, going to the miscellaneous factor, is that I'd love to keep going with this game, but then my frames drop to ridiculous levels, and then I'm like, what's the point? Because this engine is broken. At least this version. I have no idea why the first game's engine runs smooth sailing, but no pun intended. But this game's engine is terrible, at least in terms of the frame rate, because and this game came out in 2018. Like, how do you fuck that up? Like, this game is like 4 years old, and again, Pillars 1 is 3 years older than Deadfire, and yet it still runs smooth. And again, if I was like thinking about it while I was like in bed, and while thinking about this video, and I'm like, I think, you know why? Because they made the graphics better. It's almost like with like World of Warcraft or Bethesda's type thing. They make the graphics better, but like because it's like an old ass engine and they not update it. And again, taking what I could be wrong. I don't mind if I'm wrong, but like then the frame rate suffers. And not to mention, I've seen why people like, not justify it, but why they've calculate or analyze why the frame rates go down. It's because they fuck up with the GPU and the CPU cores. So, especially with the CPU, because the CPU, apparently the CPU cores, like if you have higher than a free CPU cores, yeah, you're fucked. Even like I said, even when I put it down to free cores, it still runs 2040 FPS. Like, that's ridiculous, But again, even if that was like a main factor, I wouldn't mind it, but if the story writing and dialogue wasn't as, again, not as bad, but just like I feel bored. I feel bored listening. Like, and it sucks because these actors are good. These actors are genuinely good. I like most of these people. I don't mind them talking. I just feel like this script that they're reading from is terrible. You know? And again, I keep saying over and over, I do not mind the Deadfire Archipelago. It sounds like a cool place. It should, but again, I feel like if we had a new protagonist, new companions, they do have new companions, don't get me wrong, but if they centered around that, and they can still keep the thing with EFOs like wrecking the Deadfire and all that. That's fine. But I feel like having a new watcher, new protagonist step up from the reins to help out and stop this evil. And then, you know, maybe you get to meet Eater and then the other companions. They're not playable, but you can meet them, and if like depending how you played the last watcher, you could be like, oh, maybe he was benevolent, maybe he did survive, blah blah blah. But anyways, yeah, I think we've been about 20 minutes of this. I think I'm done with my rambling. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll try to get a stream going. I'm not sure. Like I said, maybe I'll go back to this game, maybe not. Like I'll probably have to do this on, I'll probably have to explain this in my Let's Play video the next time I do Pillars of Eternity 1. And yeah, explain like, look, I love the game, like I love this game, but I do not know if I will go to Deadfire. It, like, again, it sucks. I want to like it, I really do. It's got factors that I love. I love the feel and look of this game and stuff, but it just feels so boring to be in. Like, in terms of talking to people and going through the storyline, it's boring. I'm sorry. But, again, that'll be it. I apologize if this disappoints people, but that's just my opinion. You know, you could take it with a grain of salt or whichever. So, thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to help out if you can. You know, donate if you can. Of course, I'll put down the link down below. And, as always, I will see you guys later.